Hello, my name is Devin. This is Modest 1.0, and the last video was Collision Part 1, so this is Collision Part 2. So if you haven't watched Collision Part 1, go watch that. And without further ado, this is all that stuff that was shown in the previous one, wherever it was, the collision test pair command. There it is. So we have intersects between AABBs, B-spheres and AABBs, B-sphere, B-sphere, and two different volumes. So using visitor pattern, we can actually test, what the volume is first. And then we have collision tests for B-spheres, ABBs, etc., OBBs against OBBs, so even with the SAT overlap tests, this is all handled by the engine. The user actually doesn't even have to call these, they're called by the engine. But functions that the user would call, for instance, if they wanted to do them, would be, would be linear interpolation of a float, vector matrix. We have basically getting a point in the terrain, which can be helpful for, setting certain events. Angle between vectors within NDC. This is actually how I determine whether the enemies are drawn or not. So you can use this, you actually use this to place the reticle too. So the reticle is placed based on, how close an enemy is, and it doesn't even test it if there's an enemy that is outside the player's NDC, so within the view frustum of the camera. So, and that's also, and, in tandem with that, I also say, don't draw them if they're outside that's how you would do it. It wouldn't draw any enemies that aren't in view of the player, ultimately saving a lot of processing speed and optimizing the game. So there's also getting the screen location, which is also used for the reticle placement. This is also used for placing screen panels as well, and screen logging as well. And I will go into sprites a little bit in like a short little demo. But for now, this is basically how we test everything. This math tools is used throughout the engine, throughout the game. It is callable static functions just like that. They return booleans, they return floats, ints, voids, etc. What their data type is and what they're supposed to do. Also, we have a pi, which just returns pi. So you don't have to type 3.14159.265 every time. That's the math tools, and that's how these collision test pairs actually do everything. They call intersects between them, and depending the volume, it will test them. So, without further ado, here are all the commands too. That is the math tools. Next video, I will be going into the terrain. Thank you.